everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'll be checking out the most controversial player in sports. This is a baseball player. His name is Trevor Bauer. Someone told me to check this out. So when they say controversial, what does that mean? He did a lot of terrible things, but was a good player. I mean, if a player is doing stupid and terrible things, but he's not a good player or a great player, nobody really cares. Let's be honest. So it has to be someone that is good at what he does. Obviously, then maybe in his off the field or off the limelight kind of life, you know, he's all over the place doing things that shouldn't be done, you know, that puts him in precarious situations and things like that. So this should be fun. Let's get right into it.
This offseason, Trevor Bauer signed a contract that gave him the highest salary in baseball history. 5 months later, Bauer has been banned for the rest of the 2021 season.
That will be this guy very soon, Otani. I was hearing that Otani will soon sign the biggest contract ever in baseball, the Japanese guy. So, I mean, he will soon be unsubbed.
Later, Bauer has been banned for the rest of the 2021 season. Reports say that a majority of his teammates want him off the team for good, and a combination of MLB owners, executives, and lawyers have told ESPN they believe he will never play a Major League Baseball game again. But even before this, Trevor Bauer has been the most controversial player in baseball for years. In high school, Bauer was bullied by classmates, teammates, and even coaches so much he refused to play his senior season. He's had an ongoing feud with one of the league's best pitchers since they were teammates in college, and after a meltdown in a minor league playoff game and public beef with his major league catcher, he was traded. He responded by releasing a diss track.
Yes, my name is Trevor. You would never, ever in a million years be clever enough to leverage me back.
He once threw a baseball over the center field fence after being taken out of a game. He's told batters what pitch was coming, has pitched with one eye open, was accused of pushing a fringe conspiracy theory on the mound during a Major League Baseball game. And once, just as a troll, Trevor Bauer specifically requested his team pay him a salary of $6,420,969.69. He's had public feuds with multiple coaches, teammates, opponents, and even MLB.
What does that mean? That seems so too specific. I mean, that looks so specific. What does that mean exactly? Those particular figures that I mentioned.
He's accused one of the league's best players of cheating. Several years later, he likely used that same method of cheating to go from having the worst year of his career to being the best pitcher in baseball. But after all of this,
I like this guy already. Seriously, maybe there are some things that will be mentioned later in the video that will make me change my mind. But for right now, I like this guy already. I mean, if one of the best players is cheating and is doing something that he's cheating with and is becoming one of the best players in the league, why can't I also cheat like that and also be one of the best players in the league? I mean, is that really a bad thing? Since the league doesn't want to tackle that particular issue, then I might as well gain from it, right? It's almost like in the NBA, since the league doesn't want to tackle, flopping and all that kind of a thing, for all this foul betting that players like James Harden, Joel Embiid, players like that indulge in, LeBron James. I mean, since the league doesn't want to handle it, then you have to also find a way to also be able to cheat as well and be great and score points. Seriously.
Controversy. In 2021, Trevor Bauer was in the best position of his career until several severe criminal accusations became public, which could end his major league career forever.
I want to warn you, many of the details are graphic.
The story about Trevor Bauer is really ugly.
I think he's done, Jeremy. D-O-N-E.
If you ask Trevor Bauer, his parents, and his coaches, he shouldn't even be a major league pitcher because he is one of the worst athletes in the league. Sports Illustrated says that he can't throw a football 10 yards. He has an extremely low vertical jump, and in his freshman year of high school, he could only throw a baseball 78 miles per hour. Trevor Bauer's success is based primarily on his pure obsession with throwing a baseball better than anyone else in the world. And this led to dozens of stories of Bauer being bullied, starting in elementary school, and one of these bullies even went on to be one of the league's best pitchers. According to him, he was shoved to the ground during recess while playing soccer because he would wear baseball pants.
Guys, I really like this guy. I'm very, very unathletic. and very, very unathletic. Seeing a guy that is also unathletic, making it in sports, becoming a professional sports person. I like everything I'm hearing so far. I like this guy already. Like I said, if there's something that is mentioned towards the end of the video or during the video that makes me change my mind, then I'll change my mind. But for now, I like this guy. There's nothing controversial about this guy.
To school, but still refused to wear anything else. Bauer had no friends, so he would ride his bike to a tennis court to play catch with a fence. Kids in the neighborhood would make fun of him and call him a nerd for doing this so often. By the time he was 10, Bauer was already obsessed with mastering pitching and sought out extremely unorthodox methods of training to compensate for his lack of athleticism. Perhaps Bauer's most notorious training method is his shoulder tube. In high school, he was made fun of for bringing it to every single one of his classes. His JV baseball coach even told him he used it to overcompensate for having a small penis. Bauer says he was miserable.
Really? Well, you be hearing about body positivity all the time. Body positivity. It almost seems like this body positivity is only for women. For men, people can be accused of having small penises all day. They can be accused of having small dick energy. All these nonsense words. The same people are also socially conscious, fighting body shaming. You know, things like that. It's actually very, very funny. Every time I see these things online, I'll be like, you know, as a Nigerian, I'll just be sitting down in my country and I'll be just looking online. And you're seeing these same people that blab and rant about this body positivity, you should accept everybody and all that stuff. And by the next day, that calling someone small dick energy, calling someone you must have, you're compensating for a small dick for having a sports car. I mean, what the hell is all that? The hypocrisy is just so funny to see. Seriously.
No friends, would spend lunch in his science teacher's classroom talking about the physics of baseball, and would go to high school football games and have to sit with his dad. Trevor spent his first 2 seasons of high school on the freshman and JV team. He was constantly at odds with coaches and teammates for his training methods and his refusal to listen to anybody's input. But his junior year, Bauer won 16 of the 17 games he started, had a 1.11 ERA, and instantly became one of the best pitchers in the state. According to him, he was still threatened to be kicked off the team. Bauer says he didn't get along with anybody in high school, so he decided that he would not play his senior season no matter what. Thanks to having a 4.8 GPA, he was able to enroll in UCLA early and began pitching for the Bruins as a 17-year-old. Unfortunately for him, the bullying did not stop. Before Bauer threw a single pitch in college, Garrett Cole called him out in front of the whole team during a workout, saying that Bauer had no future in baseball, he didn't work hard, and that he was a quote-unquote The two barely talked again throughout college. One coach at UCLA says the odds of Earth burning up are better than them ever talking again. And this feud would go on well into their major league careers. But Garrett Cole was not the only one at UCLA who had problems with Bauer. As a freshman, during the team's first road trip, Bauer's shoulder tube got lost by the airline. He made the whole team wait at the airport for over an hour and apparently said he refused to pitch if he couldn't find it because it would put him at risk of injury. His teammates began referring to his shoulder tube as his quote-unquote penis pole and later got him back by stealing it, hiding it in a tree, and making him climb it to get it back. Another teammate says that he had to stop multiple players from fighting Trevor because he would snap on people for patting him on the back after a bad inning. Another teammate says he talked to Trevor once in college and was quote-unquote good for a lifetime. In one game against Cal, he faced his former high school teammate, and the two had been talking trash all game. After getting him to ground out for the last out, Bauer started yelling at him and the benches cleared. Bauer later said that the two hated each other in high school after Bauer beamed him with a fastball on purpose during a practice because he called Bauer out for playing shortstop instead of shagging balls in the outfield like the rest of the pitchers, something Trevor says he did for arm strength. To many, doing things like this is extremely self-absorbed and narcissistic, but Bauer argues that his methods are backed by research, so if he stays dedicated to his training, he will become the best pitcher he can be, which will only benefit the whole team. And it is hard to argue that he was wrong, because he legitimately became the best pitcher in the country. In 2011, Bauer won the Golden Spikes Award, had a 13-2 record, and ended the season with 9 consecutive complete games. After the season, Bauer went third in the MLB draft and probably could have gone second, but told the Mariners he wouldn't sign for less than $20 million, which was 3 times higher than the previous record. He ended up signing with the Diamondbacks for $7.3 million solely because they were open to letting him continue his obscure training methods. However, 4 months later, the GM who drafted Bauer went to the Angels, and from that day on, Bauer says the organization, quote-unquote, shit on him non-stop. When entering the majors, Bauer immediately got the league's attention by doing a bizarre hour-long warm-up routine that required him to play catch across the field, throwing 450 feet. Everyone in the world, including the Diamondbacks, saw this as insane and predicted he would soon need elbow surgery. Reports say that Bauer clashed with the front office, with his coaches and his teammates. Several teammates told USA Today he was a loner and refused any advice from coaches or players. His main enemy was his catcher Miguel Montero, who was immediately annoyed by Bauer shaking off an insane amount of pitches in his first several starts as a rookie. Montero told the media Bauer never listened, he didn't want to learn, and was pissed about Bauer's pre-inning ritual, where he would get a running start and throw a fastball as hard as he could at his catcher. Montero thought it was useless and would end up killing someone. Bauer would be sent back to the minors, where in a playoff game he reportedly had a meltdown after being taken out of a game and was forced to apologize to teammates, which sparked the team to trade him only 18 months after being drafted. And Bauer responded in the most outrageous way possible, which I can confidently say has never happened in Major League history. After he was traded, Bauer released a rap song called You Don't Know Me and was perceived by most as a direct diss track at his catcher Miguel Montero. Bauer says it was not directed at anyone specifically. However, several lines in the song, including one that says, "You hide behind a mask to facilitate a task, but you don't know me," seems pretty specific to a catcher. This is one of several rap songs Bauer released with his friend under the name Consummate Foresight.
When I need some loving, breakfast in bed, orange juice and a muffin, a kiss and some cup.
At this point, he was known by most as a pitcher trying to get established in the major leagues with a very strange training regimen which included weighted balls, high-tech cameras, and even a machine that would electrify his brain to temporarily help him learn new skills faster. People were obviously skeptical about these methods, including his pitching coach Mickey Callaway, whose relationship with Bauer apparently became so damaged in Cleveland it was beyond repair. Bauer says that Callaway once berated him for over an hour trying to convince him to throw more fastballs. Bauer refused. Someone in the organization told Sports Illustrated the team was 24 players plus Trevor. Another player says he thinks Trevor thinks about Trevor a lot. Bauer definitely rubbed some people in Cleveland the wrong way, but not everyone. Players like Mike Clevenger, Corey Kluber, and Shane Bieber saw him as a great source of pitching knowledge and credit Bauer for a big reason their pitching staff was so successful. Mike Clevenger says that Bauer would go over film and correct his mechanics. Bauer essentially became a pitching coach for other pitchers in Cleveland and had a hard time listening to the real pitching staff because honestly, he probably knew more than them, which according to Clevenger made the Indians very upset. But this is not the only thing that got Trevor in trouble. In 2015, he picked up a new hobby, making and flying drones. MLB security once had to order him to stop flying his drones over the spring training facility. He once accidentally crashed his drone into the Progressive Field scoreboard, and the night before he was supposed to pitch in Game 2 of the ALCS, he accidentally sliced his finger open trying to fix his homemade drone. He had to skip his start the next day and tried to pitch in Game 3, but after facing just 4 batters, the bleeding got so out of control, he had to leave the game altogether.
I was plugging the battery in and my finger happened to be right here.
At this point in his career, Trevor's antics overshadowed his pitching. He had never finished a season with an ERA below a 4. but that would soon end any chance he could. In one start, he drew BD 9/11 on the back of the mound, which people on Twitter and news media outlets speculated could translate to Bush did 9/11, which does seem like something Trevor might do, but is adamant this was just a personal message to a close friend. He made controversial opinions on who he voted for, the liberal media, Obama, climate change, and illegal immigration. He told one person on Twitter to quit life. He mentioned a college student on Twitter over 80 times after she told him he was her least favorite player, and even used her pictures to try to expose her for underage drinking. He once did a charity campaign called 69 Days of Giving, where he donated $420.69 to a different charity selected by fans every day. On the 69th day, he picked his own charity and donated $69,420.69 to a charity of his choosing. In arbitration, he asked the Indians for a salary of $6.9 million. After being convinced the number was too high, he lowered it to $6,420,969.69. The Indians and MLB cited his social media presence and obsession with obscene numbers for reasons they should pay him less. And Bauer has even claimed MLB has made him stop using his Twitter account for extended periods of time. After 2018, Bauer publicly told the media that 2019 would be his last season in Cleveland. He also promised that he would never sign a contract over 1 year long, saying that he made a bet with a friend that if he did sign a multi-year deal, he would allow him to shoot Bauer in the balls with a paintball gun. In a 2019 start against the Kansas City Royals, Bauer gave up 7 runs in 5 innings. He was pulled from the game and was so frustrated he heaved a ball from the pitcher's mound over the center field fence. Terry Francona yelled at him and Bauer walked off the mound defeated. 3 days later, he was traded to the Reds, and his former manager Terry Francona publicly said he was worried about the clubhouse if Bauer would have stayed. He also says that some trades are more emotional than others, but his and Bauer's last meeting was quote-unquote pretty short. Bauer would finish 2019 in Cincinnati and stay there in 2020, which will probably go down as the most eventful of his career. He put up a 1.73 ERA, led the league in WHIP, hits per 9, complete games, and won the NL Cy Young Award. He also began screaming at batters, doing the McGregor strut, wore cleats with trash cans on them to troll the Astros, and pretended to chug beer cans after striking people out. He was gaining popularity like crazy, but Bauer was also almost certainly cheating. Years earlier, Bauer called out his former teammate Garrett Cole for what he claimed to be an unnatural rise in spin rate due to a foreign substance. Bauer claimed he could easily add 200 RPMs to his fastball if he started cheating, but didn't because he had morals. To prove this, in 2018, Bauer's spin rate suspiciously spiked for 1 inning, then went back down to normal the inning after. He then hinted that this was obviously done by using an illegal foreign substance. His goal was to get MLB to crack down on these substances, but after MLB did nothing and having a terrible year in 2019, Bauer went from having an average spin rate to having the best in the league, something Bauer said himself was absolutely impossible without cheating. But at the time, it really didn't matter because many pitchers were using the substance and MLB had turned a blind eye. He put up the best year of his career, and that offseason, he signed a 3-year, $102 million contract, the highest salary in Major League history. Bauer publicly said he would limit his controversial tweets, but on the field, he became even more controversial.
I mean, if that is how it is, I mean, I'll be cheating all over the place as well. I mean, seriously, like, if everybody is doing it and I'm out there trying to be moral, I mean, I'll just also cheat as well. Seriously.
In a spring training game, after giving up 3 home runs in 1 inning, Bauer told the media that he wasn't even trying, which made the Mariners manager pretty upset.
And I just want everybody to know that our guys weren't trying the first 4 innings. We decided to try in the 5th inning. I know he had said maybe he wasn't in the 5th, but our guys were trying in the 5th. We just didn't take it seriously the first 3-4 innings.
Did they have both eyes open?
No, our guys were hitting with one eye shut.
Bauer also began pitching with one eye open to troll batters. And in that bat against Jose Ramirez, he pitched with one eye open, told him what pitches were coming, struck him out, and laughed in his face. after hitting a double off him and beating the Reds in the playoffs. Ronald Acuna went on Twitter and told Bauer to go home. Bauer responded by saying he promised he would strike out Acuna with one eye shut in 2021, which he did. After hitting a home run against Bauer in April, Fernando Tatis Jr. covered one eye while running the bases to mock him. Later in the game, he hit another home run against Bauer and mocked his McGregor strut. After the game, people on Twitter accused Tatis of stealing Bauer's signs. Bauer called him out for it, and Tatis responded by posting a Photoshop of him being Bauer's father. Other people Bauer has had beef with include the entire Astros roster. He was likely the first person to accuse them for using buzzers in a very cryptic tweet months before the rumors became public.
What everyone's going to play in their cards, so put my lucky Band-Aid on. Figured it might give me a little edge.
He also trolled Alex Bregman on Twitter.
What's up, little buddy? Did I dominate you last night?
He called Bregman his buddy, but Bregman disagreed.
No, we're not friends.
Marcus Stroman once subtly came after Bauer by replying to a tweet that called him racist. Bauer responded by telling him to stop subtweeting him and to admit he doesn't like him. He's had beef with superstar agent Scott Boras, who he says doesn't care about his players after he accused Boras of trying to stop him from vlogging at MLB stadiums. Bauer has gone after MLB and specifically Rob Manfred after he suspended Joe Kelly for throwing at Carlos Correa for cheating. Bauer tried to wear cleats that said "Free Joe Kelly" on them, but says MLB threatened to eject him, fine him, and suspend him if he did. This past season, Bauer was sent a warning for wearing a belt with a personal brand on it. He silently responded to MLB by doing a press conference with a taped piece of paper that said, "Not my logo, don't find me."
Sure, not my logo, don't find me. Would you like to say anything about that?
Guys, I like this guy so far. We are 18 minutes in now. I've not seen anything that turns me off about him. Like, I like him. He does what he wants. I mean, this world, most of the time, men are kind of restricted. We have to do things that we are told to do. If not, you are someone that people will look at you like you're crazy and all that kind of thing. So you have to just do things that everybody is doing. You have to go by the rules, go by the everything. And sometimes when I see people like this do what they want to do, enjoy their lives, live their lives the way they want to live it, as long as they're not committing any crimes, that is all as long as you do not commit any crime, that is all. I'm fine with it. And I like people like this. I wish I could be like that, to be honest with you. I wish I could live life like that without caring what people thought about me. Just live whatever, So I seeing someone like this, I like it. I do like it. So far, I'm actually impressed. I like the guy. So I don't really know what's controversial here. Maybe, it's controversial, I guess. By the definition, controversial is controversial. But,
Bauer went after journalist Ken Rosenthal, who he called a gossip blogger after he reported that MLB had confiscated baseballs from Bauer during games to investigate his foreign substance use. Bauer says the report was misleading because MLB confiscated balls from every pitcher across the league for the same reason. But in 2021, Bauer was seen by many as the most obvious abuser. He was continuing his dominance from 2020, and his spin rate was the highest in the league and even higher than it was in 2020. Bauer wanted MLB to start cracking down on the substance, but when MLB finally did, he still had problems with the enforcement, saying it was unfair to do it in the middle of the season and said he could make his hand just as sticky in a legal way.
About the sticky stuff that the pitcher's using, and I was just wondering
that's a reference to the New England Patriots, right? I think Tom Brady was there. Bill Belichick, that is his name, right? No, Bill Belichick is NFL. Okay, that is NFL.
All eyes were on Bauer to see if he could continue his dominance without a foreign substance, but Bauer barely got a chance to pitch under these new enforcement policies because on June 29th, Bauer was accused of something that not only ended his 2021 season, may end his MLB career, and could possibly put him in jail. A woman filed a restraining order after having 2 romantic encounters with Bauer in 2021, where she says he assaulted her, resulting in injuries so severe she was forced to go to the hospital. Bauer, his agent, and lawyers immediately denied these claims, but a few days after, MLB placed him on paid leave and opened up their own investigation. The LAPD also opened up an investigation, and Bauer was sent to go to civil court. But while Bauer was preparing to go to court, the Washington Post reported that another woman had previously filed for a restraining order against Bauer, accusing him of very similar crimes in 2019. Bauer and lawyers have denied her claims. She has dismissed her request for a restraining order, has not pressed any further charges, but has cooperated with MLB. A judge has recently rescinded the most recent restraining order against Bauer, saying that he does not currently pose a threat to the woman and did not quote-unquote exceed the limits that the practitioner set, basically saying that she believed the relationship was consensual. This is good news for Bauer in terms of the legal system and may sway the LAPD from charging Bauer of a crime.
Man, I'm very, very afraid to make a comment about this because this is a very sensitive topic. Obviously, I would like to live in a world where women aren't allowed to, if something bad like that happens to them, like an assault, SA, the R word, things like that they cannot come out to report it. I don't want to live in that kind of a world. But unfortunately, women are also human beings, like men are. You can have terrible, scamish men. And you can also have terrible, scamish women. But unfortunately, it seems like the world, at least in the West, from what I've been seeing, they treat women like women are human beings, like men. Men are human beings, women are human beings. You can have terrible men, you can have terrible women. You can have men that try to exploit the system, and you can also have women that try to exploit the system. So this believe all women thing is really, really scary. And at the end of the day, there's really nothing you can do about it because these crimes are crimes that it's very, very difficult to prove. Like, let's say, for example, now, personally, I'm insignificant. I'm not even sure anybody would try to accuse me of things like that if I didn't do it. If a woman comes out now and says, like, oh, Goddy rewarded her. But like, let me say I had sexual relationships with her. She comes out and says, I rewarded her. What is the proof with that? There's no proof. I had sexual relations with her. And she comes out and says that I rewarded her. How can you prove that? How can you prove that? Like, obviously you can prove that I had sexual relationships with her. But how can you prove that it was actually not consensual? So it's very, very difficult, and it's unfortunate that a lot of women are taking advantage of this situation, especially when it comes to men that are prominent, men that are popular, men that are rich, that are looking at it as a cash cow. And I think I've said it on my channel before. I don't know whether I've said it before. If I were a famous, rich athlete, musician, movie actor, whatever, even a famous, rich YouTuber, I probably will not even talk to women anymore. Which is actually, if you look at it, I prefer my life now than if I was rich and famous. Because at that point, I can't even enjoy my life anymore. Everybody that comes into my life, men and women, I'll be looking at them like, what do you want? What exactly do you want? And we all know that as a man, a heterosexual man, there's a bigger opportunity for me to be more vulnerable with a woman because of the fact that, we can do things like that. So it won't really happen with a man most of the time, But even with that, you can also think of like, is the man trying to set you up with some gang members, some criminals, or things like that? So that life is not really that sweet, to be honest with you. I'm not really sure I would like to live that life, even though I want to be successful and I want to be rich. I really don't want to be famous. I really do not want to be famous, to be honest. And looking at this, I don't know what happened. Nobody knows what happened. But unfortunately, when you are a man, when a woman says you did this, most people believe her, unfortunately. Not just in the West, even in my country here. Obviously, with our country, there's corruption. So if you are rich enough, you can pay yourself out of it. Unfortunately, it's not good. I don't think it's a good thing. There are a lot of powerful, that do things like this and they're able to pay themselves out of the situation. I wish it wasn't the case. But most people will still believe the woman. Even if the man is able to pay himself out of it, they'll still believe the woman. So this is not just a Western, US, UK something. It's something that happens all over the world. So it's an unfortunate situation. I really do not know the solution to it, to be honest with you. I don't know the solution, but whatever. But I'm just saying, if I were in this situation, before I even sleep with any woman, I'm going to sign them. In fact, a lawyer will be sitting with me before I even do anything with any woman.
However, according to Jeff Passan, who interviewed dozens of MLB owners, executives, and lawyers, they almost all agreed that Bauer would never play again. Whether Bauer is charged or not, a suspension is almost definitely coming. But even after that suspension, the Dodgers may not want him back. His teammates Justin Turner, Chris Taylor, Mookie Betts, Max Muncy, Albert Pujols, and Dustin May have all unfollowed him, and a report from the LA Times say that a majority of Dodgers players don't want him back on the team no matter what. The Dodgers front office probably agrees and are currently paying him to sit at home. If Bauer is cleared to play, it is likely he will have to go to court with the Dodgers, who may argue that these off-the-field issues were a breach of his contract, allowing them to release him without paying him. In that case, it would be up to the other 29 teams to decide whether or not Trevor Bauer's talent is worth the extreme public backlash he will bring to the team. And if this happens, Bauer will re-enter the league the exact same way he left, as the most controversial player in baseball.
Wow. So, at least the first 18 minutes, I didn't really say anything that was really that terrible, But towards the end there, it was brought up, the OSA thing, and I really don't know what to say about it. I don't really want to say too much about it, but I've always put myself in a situation where if I were one of these guys, I target. I know people try to make it seem like women are these innocent damn cells that can never do anything bad. But when you are in that situation, you are a target. Unfortunately, you are a target. You are. And I wish these people were more careful, but this thing is very difficult, especially when you are a young man. You have all these beautiful women around you and you won't think straight. Well, and I like to think I would think straight in that situation, but I'm not in that situation, so I can't really say. But I think these men should consider all these factors. You just can't be living life like a normal man. You just can't. You are a target. You are a cash cow. There are women that will be out here trying to accuse you so that you can settle them out of court, because you don't want to go to court. You don't want to drag this thing out. So you just want to settle them so that they can go away. And paying them like $200,000, $300,000, even if that money is peanuts to you, it's a lot of money for the woman. And it's a good investment for the woman for accusing you. So, I don't know. Either you have a wife or you have a man girlfriend or whatever, and stick to her. Or if you want to live the philanthropist lifestyle, you'll be walking around with your lawyer. I'm serious. I'm not joking right now. You walk around with your lawyer. Your lawyer will be with you at all times. When the woman comes in, signs paper. You are rich enough to pay a lawyer on retainer, right? They're rich enough. You're absolutely rich enough to be able to pay a lawyer on retainer, even if it's not a lawyer that is that great. As long as the person is a certified lawyer, that's all you need. So this is I don't really know. What do you guys think? Do you guys think he's guilty of what he's being accused of? And I don't know what has happened. This video was released 2021, so I don't know what has happened so far. We are in 2023 right now. So you guys tell me what has happened to him down in the comments. I would like to know. I'll see you on the next one.